Right here where this valley comes out, there's a natural waterway. It's a dry riverbed. If you went into that wadi, you would find there are rocks all over the place, but they've all been pushed out of the way to make a path.
For centuries, the story of the crossing of the Red Sea has captivated believers, historians, and scientists alike. According to the biblical account, Moses led the Israelites in a miraculous escape from Egypt, crossing a sea that, defying all logic, parted to let them pass on dry land. While this story has been passed down for generations, tangible evidence has remained elusive until now. Recent advances in technology and archaeology have uncovered clues that might confirm this epic event. From geological studies to underwater explorations in key areas of the Gulf of Aqaba, scientists have found indications supporting the possibility that this phenomenon is not only plausible, but could have occurred under specific natural conditions. Is it possible that modern science is unraveling such a legendary event? Could this new evidence change our understanding of the Exodus and the religious traditions associated with it? In this video, we will explore the latest theories and investigations seeking to shed light on one of history's most intriguing accounts. Join us as we unravel the mystery of the Red Sea crossing, blending science and faith into an extraordinary narrative. The story of the Exodus. The Bible describes the people of Israel as the main protagonists of the Exodus, an epic tale spanning generations of slavery in Egypt to their liberation and eventual arrival in the Promised Land. This journey, guided by Moses and accompanied by miracles, is not only a historical event, but also a cornerstone of the religious tradition for millions of people. According to the account, the Pharaoh of Egypt enslaved the Israelites for centuries, using their labor to build vast structures and maintain the power of his empire. The oppression of the Israelites culminates in God's intervention, sending 10 plagues to persuade Pharaoh to release his people. These plagues, ranging from swarms of frogs to the death of Egypt's firstborns, wreak havoc on Egypt, compelling Pharaoh to allow the Israelites to leave. However, this permission is short-lived. As soon as the Israelites begin their exodus, Pharaoh changes his mind and sends his army after them. The climax of this story occurs when the Israelites find themselves trapped between the Red Sea and Pharaoh's army. At that moment, according to the Bible, Moses, guided by divine intervention, parts the waters of the sea, creating a dry path for the Israelites to cross safely. When the Egyptians attempt to follow, the waters return to their place, drowning Pharaoh's army and securing the Israelites' freedom. This event, known as the crossing of the Red Sea, is considered one of the greatest miracles recorded in the scriptures and symbolizes the triumph of faith over oppression. The story of the Red Sea crossing is more than a religious narrative. It is also a topic of intense debate among believers and scientists. For those who accept it as a miracle, the event represents God's direct intervention in human history. However, for the scientific community, any event of this magnitude must be explained through natural phenomena supported by evidence. This clash between faith and reason has driven decades of research, theories, and debates. Some scientists have proposed that the Red Sea mentioned in the Bible could refer to a region known as the Sea of Reeds, a shallow area near the Nile Delta. According to this theory, specific climatic conditions, such as strong, sustained winds, could have temporarily pushed back the waters, creating a dry path. This phenomenon, known as wind set-down, has been observed in other parts of the world and offers a potential natural explanation for the crossing. Another theory suggests that tectonic movements or seismic activity could have contributed to the described event. In regions with active geological faults, it is possible that an earthquake caused a temporary uplift of the seabed, exposing a path for the Israelites to cross. These hypotheses, though intriguing, lack archaeological evidence directly linking them to the biblical account, leaving room for debate. Meanwhile, advances in technology have allowed scientists to explore potential locations for the Red Sea, crossing through underwater studies and computer modeling. Some researchers have identified unusual formations in the Gulf of Aqaba, including structures that some believe could be remnants of chariots or human bones. However, these findings remain controversial and require further analysis to confirm their authenticity and connection to the Exodus. On the other hand, proponents of the religious interpretation argue that the absence of direct evidence does not invalidate the account. For them, the crossing of the Red Sea is an act of faith that transcends the limitations of science, with its spiritual and cultural significance far outweighing any attempt to explain it from a naturalistic perspective. This tension between science and religion is not unique to the crossing of the Red Sea. It reflects a broader struggle to reconcile ancient religious narratives with modern knowledge. Although the perspectives may seem irreconcilable, the Red Sea crossing remains a powerful example of how sacred texts can inspire both faith and scientific curiosity. The search for answers about the Red Sea crossing continues to be one of the most fascinating challenges for archaeologists, historians, and scientists. Each new investigation attempts to bridge the gap between biblical accounts and scientific explanations. However, until verifiable evidence is discovered, this event remains fertile ground for debate and theory. The story of the Red Sea crossing raises extraordinary questions. The idea of an ocean parting to form a traversable path challenges fundamental laws of physics and geology. For instance, gravity, a constant force on Earth, does not weaken under any known natural circumstances, making it unlikely for stable walls of water, as described in the biblical account, to form. Moreover, estimates suggest these walls would have to reach over 30 meters high to accommodate the vast masses of people and animals that would have crossed. While phenomena like high tides, tsunamis, or seismic activity can cause temporary changes in water levels, none of these events would create the conditions described in the Exodus. For example, a tsunami can temporarily withdraw waters from the shore, but it does so chaotically and dangerously, not by forming a walkable path. These physical limitations lead many to suggest that if this event occurred, it could only have been the result of supernatural intervention, a concept science cannot prove or refute due to the lack of reproducible empirical evidence. At the same time, some researchers have shifted their focus from the physical characteristics of the crossing to the figure of Pharaoh and the fate of his army. According to the biblical account, Pharaoh and his army perished under the waters of the Red Sea. However, there is no definitive archaeological evidence to support a mass drowning of Egyptian soldiers. Additionally, some scholars suggest that the pharaoh who ruled during the Exodus may have survived and continued to reign for years after this event. This hypothesis is based on historical records showing that pharaohs of that time had prolonged reigns, suggesting Pharaoh might have been absent from the battle or survived the disaster. Archaeologists also face the challenge of identifying the precise route the Israelites would have taken over 4,000 years ago. Ancient texts, including the Bible, provide valuable clues about the crossing's location, narrowing the search to specific areas around Egypt. According to these descriptions, the crossing would have occurred in a body of water deep enough to be an insurmountable barrier with a minimum depth of 600 meters. This eliminates the possibility of crossing in shallow lakes or rivers. The Gulf of Aqaba, located between the Sinai Peninsula and Saudi Arabia, meets these characteristics. Its depth exceeds 550 meters, making it a plausible candidate for the Red Sea crossing. On the other hand, the Gulf of Suez, initially considered a possible location, has an average depth of only 300 meters, which does not align with the scriptural descriptions. This geological analysis has led many researchers to focus their efforts on the Gulf of Aqaba as the most likely site. Underwater explorations in this region have revealed unusual formations and structures, including some that could be interpreted as remnants of chariots or human bones. While these findings are fascinating, they still lack conclusive evidence connecting them directly to the event described in the Exodus. Scientists continue to study these anomalies using advanced tools like sonar and sediment analysis to uncover more clues about what might have happened in this region. Despite the challenges, advances in the search for evidence have generated renewed interest in this millennia-old event. Although definitive proof has yet to be found, the crossing of the Red Sea remains a topic that combines science, history, and faith, keeping alive the curiosity about one of humanity's most enigmatic stories. The Gulf of Aqaba. The Gulf of Aqaba, a narrow arm of water stretching between the Sinai Peninsula and the Arabian Peninsula, has been identified as a key location in the search for the crossing of the Red Sea. With features that notably align with biblical descriptions, this region has captured the attention of scientists, archaeologists, and historians attempting to unravel the mystery behind this ancient narrative. One of the most striking aspects of the Gulf of Aqaba is its depth. At its deepest point, it reaches approximately 5,000 feet, 1,524 meters, about 3 times the height of the Empire State Building, including its iconic spire. This highlights the scale of the supposed walls of water described in the biblical account. Imagining water walls of such height flanking the Israelites as they crossed the seabed is awe-inspiring. Such a phenomenon would have been both overwhelming and terrifying, leaving the human witnesses feeling small and insignificant in the face of such a majestic display of power. Historically, the Gulf of Aqaba has been a region of strategic importance, serving as both a natural barrier and a key route along ancient trade paths. This geographical point would have posed a monumental challenge to the Israelites during their exodus, especially given the threats they faced. As the Israelites hurried to escape, the Egyptian army, equipped with the most advanced military technology of the time, pursued them relentlessly. Egyptian chariots, a symbol of military might, could reach speeds of up to 25 miles per hour, 40 kilometers per h, enabling them to quickly close the distance between themselves and the Israelites. These chariots were not only fast, but also intimidating, and their presence would have intensified the fear and urgency among the fleeing Israelites. The Gulf of Aqaba, with its strategic location and challenging geography, provides the perfect backdrop to understand both the practical and symbolic aspects of the Red Sea crossing. This region not only adds plausibility to the account, but also amplifies the drama of the narrative, illustrating how the Israelites faced not only an imposing enemy, but also the seemingly insurmountable forces of nature. The biblical account details how a powerful east wind blew throughout the night, dividing the waters of the Red Sea and drying the seabed for the Israelites to cross. This phenomenon, as described in Exodus, adds an additional layer of intensity to an already chaotic escape. The constant gusts of wind not only dried the seabed, but also would have made the crossing physically challenging for such a large crowd. Imagine the stress and exhaustion the Israelites must have experienced. Many of them would have been accustomed to a relatively stable life in Egypt, with regular access to food and predictable routines. Suddenly, they found themselves following Moses into the unknown, facing inhospitable terrain with no guarantees of reaching the promised land. Amid this uncertainty, many expressed doubt and fear, even preferring to return to Egypt rather than face the challenges of the desert. The constant threat of the Egyptian army only heightened the tension. Despite days of marching, the Israelites were acutely aware that the Egyptian chariots were closing in. The sound of wheels and horses would have added a palpable sense of desperation. Egyptian chariots, with their speed and maneuverability, represented advanced military technology that gave the Egyptians a clear strategic advantage. Even after 10 days of marching, the Israelites could not fully escape their pursuers. They likely felt trapped with the sea before them and the Egyptian army swiftly approaching from behind. This critical moment marks the climax of the biblical account. The Israelites' desperation and the proximity of their pursuers would have heightened the tension and fear. However, it also created the perfect context for the miracle described in the scriptures. According to the narrative, the waters parted at the last moment, creating a path for the Israelites to escape and destroying the Egyptian army in the process. This dramatic and emotional scene encapsulates the conflict between faith and fear, illustrating how the crossing of the Red Sea remains a symbol of redemption and liberation. The scientific quest to understand how this event might have occurred continues, but the Gulf of Aqaba remains a silent witness to one of humanity's most iconic stories. This body of water, with its impressive depth and rich history, has drawn the attention of scientists and archaeologists due to its possible connections to the biblical account of the Red Sea crossing. But is this the exact location where the Israelites crossed? While its impressive depth of up to 1,524 meters aligns with the description of a great body of water that would have represented an insurmountable barrier to the Israelites, depth alone is not enough to confirm this location. Researchers have turned to modern technologies, such as sonar mapping and the analysis of archaeological remains, to search for more conclusive clues. These tools have revealed underwater formations, coral reefs, and even ancient artifacts that could be linked to the crossing event. Among the most notable discoveries in the Gulf of Aqaba are structures that could be interpreted as Egyptian chariot wheels and human remains. While researchers continue to debate whether these findings constitute direct evidence of the event described in Exodus, their existence adds weight to the possibility that this region was the site of the crossing. Despite the challenges, the search for evidence in the Gulf of Aqaba has renewed interest in this ancient event. While definitive proof remains elusive, this region combines the elements of science, history, and faith, keeping alive the curiosity surrounding one of humanity's most enigmatic and enduring stories. The secrets of the Gulf of Aqaba. The Gulf of Aqaba is not only a natural extension of the Red Sea, but also a key strategic point in the biblical narrative. This gulf is surrounded by Egypt, Israel, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, making it a historic trade route and a crucial natural barrier. The proximity of the Gulf to Mount Sinai, traditionally considered the place where Moses received the Ten Commandments, reinforces the theory that this was the site of the crossing. A particular point of interest in this region is the Pi-ha-Hiroth Gorge, mentioned in the scriptures as the place where the Israelites camped before crossing the sea. This gorge, with its high granite walls, aligns perfectly with the description of a narrow and natural passage. Additionally, the gorge leads to Wadi Watiye, a path that could have served as a route for a multitude of Israelites fleeing from the Egyptian army. The geography of this region also coincides with the biblical account that describes the Israelites trapped between Pharaoh's army and a vast body of water. According to the book of Exodus, a column of cloud descended to protect the Israelites, plunging the Egyptian army into darkness while the waters of the sea parted to allow the crossing. This dramatic event, strategically located in an environment like the Gulf of Aqaba, seems to support the biblical narrative. The landscape of the Gulf of Aqaba has changed considerably over the centuries, complicating the task of precisely identifying the sites described in the Bible. What was once a remote and inhospitable region has now transformed into a hub of international maritime trade. The construction of roads, ports, and other modern infrastructures has altered the terrain, potentially covering sites of archaeological interest. Despite these transformations, underwater investigations in the Gulf of Aqaba have uncovered artifacts and structures that suggest the existence of ancient events that could coincide with the biblical account. These findings include remnants of chariots and possible ancient settlements. While not conclusive evidence, they offer intriguing clues linking this region to the narrative of the Red Sea crossing. Under the active waters of the Gulf of Aqaba, artifacts have been found that could offer a tangible connection to the account of the Exodus. These findings include chariot wheels embedded in coral reefs and human remains that seem to belong to a catastrophic event. Although scientists cannot yet confirm with certainty that these artifacts are directly related to the crossing of the Red Sea, their existence in this region provides a solid basis for future investigations. Additionally, the use of advanced technology, such as underwater mapping and sediment analysis, has allowed researchers to obtain a clearer view of the hidden history beneath the waters of the Gulf of Aqaba. The combination of archaeological evidence and modern technology not only supports aspects of the biblical account, but also opens new possibilities to explore the mysteries of the past. Although no definitive conclusion has been reached, the Gulf of Aqaba remains the most likely candidate for the crossing site. Its unique geography, proximity to significant places like Mount Sinai, and archaeological findings in the region continue to draw the attention of scholars and explorers, offering a fascinating window into one of the most intriguing events in biblical history. The region of Wadi Watiya, located near the Gulf of Aqaba, has been a key area for researchers seeking evidence of the Red Sea crossing. During the rainy season, this dry valley becomes a vast expanse of water, even flooding modern nearby roads. This phenomenon illustrates how the landscape has changed significantly over time and how these transformations could have played a role in the events described in the biblical account. A notable aspect of the investigations in Wadi Watiya has been the analysis of rock formations in the area. Some of these formations appear to have been intentionally displaced or as a result of extreme natural forces. These characteristics align with the narrative of a dry path formed by a powerful east wind, as described in the book of Exodus. Although the findings are promising, researchers continue working to determine if these formations are directly related to the crossing. In the summer of 2024, a team of archaeologists led by Dr. Elena Martinez made one of the most significant discoveries to date. Motivated by references in ancient manuscripts mentioning chariots submerged under the waves, the team explored the seabed of the Gulf of Aqaba using advanced sonar technology and submersibles. After years of fruitless searching, the team finally found something extraordinary. The sonar detected unusual patterns on the seafloor, leading them to discover rows of perfectly preserved chariot wheels covered by layers of sediment. Among the artifacts were human and horse bones, pointing to a catastrophic event. The most surprising find was a golden amulet inscribed with the name of Moses. This discovery, along with hieroglyphs mentioning a great exodus, provided a tangible link to the biblical account. The media quickly reported the discovery, drawing worldwide attention and sparking intense debates among scientists, historians, and theologians. The discoveries made in the Gulf of Aqaba and Wadi Watiya have reignited interest in the Red Sea crossing, promoting debates on the intersection between faith and science. The unearthed artifacts, including chariot wheels, bones, and amulets, have generated excitement among believers who see these findings as confirmation of the biblical narrative. On the other hand, skeptics argue that there is still no conclusive evidence directly linking these findings to the events described in the Exodus. However, even within the scientific community, the discoveries have been recognized as a valuable contribution to better understanding ancient history and the possible conditions that may have given rise to these accounts. Ancient pillar and the soul of Moses. In a nearby region, researcher Ron Wyatt discovered a pillar submerged in a dry riverbed. Although it initially seemed to be an ordinary artifact, a more detailed analysis revealed ancient Hebrew inscriptions alluding to the crossing of the Red Sea. This pillar, eroded by centuries of exposure to water, contained references to Moses and a miraculous parting of the waters. The pillar was remarkable not only for its content, but also for its location. It was situated in an area that, according to the biblical account, would have been crucial for the Israelites as they fled the Egyptian army. Near the pillar, researchers also found rocks arranged in a way that suggested either intentional placement or an extreme natural phenomenon, once again aligning with the biblical narrative. This discovery, along with the geological formations in the region, has led many to reconsider how the events described in Exodus could have been based on real phenomena, though interpreted through a spiritual lens. This was already a notable achievement, as Hebrew inscriptions from that time are rare and often poorly preserved. To everyone's astonishment, the inscriptions were legible and identified the pillar as erected by King Solomon. It seems this pillar was placed at the site to mark a significant location, the presumed crossing site of the Red Sea, a key event in biblical history. This pillar serves not only as a historical marker, but also as a tribute to the dramatic events described in the Bible. While it does not offer concrete proof of the crossing, it adds valuable context to the search for understanding what might have happened. Another intriguing detail related to the crossing of the Red Sea is a peculiar species of fish found in the depths of the Gulf of Aqaba, a part of the Red Sea where many believe the biblical crossing took place. Scientists, while exploring the depths of this gulf, discovered a unique fish species not found anywhere else in the world. Locals call it the soul of Moses, adding a level of cultural significance to the discovery. What makes this fish extraordinary is the position of its eyes. Unlike most fish, which have their eyes on opposite sides of the head, this species has both eyes on the same side. This unusual characteristic has fueled local legends. According to folklore, when the Red Sea parted at Moses' command, this fish was also split in two, symbolizing the event. When archaeologists investigated the depths of the Gulf of Aqaba, they revealed surprising truths about the legendary crossing of the Red Sea. For centuries, people imagined the Israelites walking on a smooth, straight path through the waters. However, recent explorations revealed a completely different reality. The Gulf of Aqaba, part of the Red Sea, has a highly irregular seafloor. Using advanced sonar and submersible technology, scientists discovered that the seabed is marked by deep underwater canyons, ridges, and plateaus. Some areas are incredibly deep, reaching more than 1,800 feet, 550 meters, while others rise sharply toward the surface. This uneven terrain suggests that the crossing was far from an easy walk. The Israelites would have had to navigate a treacherous landscape of submerged hills and valleys, making the journey much more complex than previously imagined. Geological studies have shown that the Gulf of Aqaba was formed through tectonic activity, with its current depth and structure resulting from millions of years of plate movements. This means that the underwater landscape has a history of dramatic changes, adding another layer of mystery to this event. Interestingly, the complexity of the Gulf's underwater terrain became a crucial clue for archaeologists. The variable depths and rugged features helped them identify possible paths and artifacts, shedding light on the true nature of the crossing and providing a more accurate image of this ancient event. Revelation of the Red Sea. The account of the Red Sea crossing, described in the book of Exodus, narrates a miraculous event where the Israelites, led by Moses, walked on dry ground in the midst of the sea. This event, known as the parting of the Red Sea, allowed the Israelites to cross safely, while Pharaoh's forces pursuing them faced a catastrophic disaster. The ancient Egyptian chariots were sophisticated war machines, equipped with spoked wheels and often decorated with intricate designs. However, in the biblical account, Pharaoh's chariots began to fail dramatically in the middle of the sea. The wheels detached, and the chariots became stuck, making it impossible for the soldiers to advance or retreat. This malfunction could have been caused by a sudden change in the seabed, or, as the Bible suggests, by a supernatural force. When the waters returned, they engulfed the chariots and soldiers, creating a chaotic scene in which the trapped and powerless soldiers would have faced a terrifying struggle. The return of the Red Sea's waters, as described in the biblical account, would have been an event of devastating proportions. According to Exodus, this phenomenon destroyed Pharaoh's army, which included approximately 600 chariots. The chariots, along with weapons, armor, and soldiers, were swept away by a powerful current into the depths of the sea. The force of the water would have created a torrential flow capable of destabilizing even the sturdiest chariots of the time, considered one of the most advanced military technologies. This event not only signified the destruction of the Egyptian army, but also solidified the idea of divine intervention in the biblical narrative. Archaeologists have suggested that an event of this magnitude could have left physical traces that might still be preserved on the seabed, particularly in areas where environmental conditions limit decomposition. Today, archaeologists and scientists have intensified efforts to find evidence supporting the account of the Red Sea crossing. Using advanced technology such as underwater drones and sonar systems, researchers have explored the Gulf of Aqaba, a location believed by some to be the actual crossing site. Underwater investigations have already revealed artifacts dating back to ancient times, including tools, pottery, and even remains of human structures. These findings suggest that the area may have been inhabited or strategically used during the period of the Exodus. Scientists hope to uncover more evidence, such as fragments of chariots, spears, swords, and pieces of armor, which could confirm the massive destruction described in the biblical narrative. The discovery of such pieces would not only help validate the biblical account, but also provide a more detailed view of the technology and military practices of ancient Egypt. Recent explorations in the Red Sea have led to remarkable findings that seem to align with the crossing account. Archaeologists working in the Gulf of Aqaba found chariot wheels separated from their axles and remnants of disintegrated chariot bodies scattered across the seabed. These artifacts, dated to approximately 3,500 years ago, were located near an underwater land bridge that matches the biblical descriptions of the crossing site. In addition to the wheels, fossilized horse bones were found in the same area. The significance of these findings lies in the rarity of large quantities of horse remains in underwater contexts, reinforcing the idea of a catastrophic event involving a large number of these animals. The discovery of horse bones in the Gulf of Aqaba is especially relevant. Unlike human remains, which could originate from various events such as shipwrecks or burials, the concentration of horse skeletons in one location suggests a singular and significant event. This closely aligns with the Exodus narrative, which describes the massive destruction of Pharaoh's army while pursuing the Israelites. Moreover, the analysis of these bones can provide clues about the breeds of horses used at the time and their role in Egyptian military strategies. This type of historical information adds depth to our understanding of ancient Egypt and the conditions under which the crossing might have occurred. Among the most fascinating discoveries are artifacts covered in coral. As coral grows over metallic or wooden objects, it has partially preserved chariot wheels, tools, and weapons. Although much of the chariot bodies and original structures have decayed, the remaining fragments offer a glimpse into the past. These artifacts not only point to a massive catastrophe, but also suggest that the site could have been a battlefield or a strategic area where a violent event occurred. The analysis of these remnants has led researchers to conclude that the region witnessed significant human activity, possibly related to the Exodus narrative. The artifacts found in the Gulf of Aqaba have been dated to the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, a period that aligns with the estimated time of the Exodus. The chariot wheels, in particular, exhibit characteristics linking them to this dynasty, such as intricate designs and specific manufacturing patterns. This historical connection provides a tangible link between the archaeological findings and the biblical narrative, reinforcing the idea that the events described in Exodus could have a basis in reality. The Gulf of Aqaba, with its underwater land bridge, offers a plausible setting for the Red Sea crossing. This bridge, a natural geological formation, has gentle slopes that could have allowed a large multitude to pass under exceptional conditions, as described in the Bible. Furthermore, the geographical features of the Gulf, combined with recent archaeological findings, have provided new credibility to the account. These pieces of evidence are leading researchers to reconsider the possibility that the Red Sea crossing is not merely a religious narrative, but also a historical event. The recent discoveries in the Gulf of Aqaba have brought science and archaeology closer to unraveling the mystery of the Red Sea crossing, a story that continues to inspire and spark debate. As technology and research progress, we may be closer than ever to understanding what truly happened. Thank you for exploring this fascinating topic with us. See you on the next adventure.